an insane amount of fentanyl is being brought into this country by illegal immigrants, specifically. Would you say that is true?
Sir, again, we're here to report on the facts on border security. I probably differ from giving an opinion on anything in the news right
With the data, right?
because that's probably doubtful. I can't
Yeah.
provide
all
a
good. Thank
factual
you, Chief.
statement.
No, I appreciate it. I agree, right? It has to be rooted in the data. You know, a Cato Institute report and CBP data shows that more than 85% of the illicit fentanyl entering the United States is brought in by citizens of the United States of America. So, Mr. Chairman, I request unanimous consent to enter into the record the 2022 Cato Institute report demonstrating that illicit fentanyl is primarily trafficked by U.S. citizens at lawful ports of entry.
A recent report states that Americans own 46% of the world's guns. I think we need to get our numbers up, boys and girls.
In 2020, there were 4.8 thousand pounds of fentanyl seized by CBP. But in 2021, it increased to 11.2 thousand pounds of fentanyl was seized by the CBP. That is a direct result of Biden administration policies.
President Biden, protecting our border, keeping our country safe. Midas Touch is responsible for the content of this advertising.
Charlottesville Tiki torture killed himself before drug smuggling trial. By Jose Pagliari. Bitter end. Teddy Joseph von Newcomb, one of the most prominent faces from the 2017 neo-Nazi rally, was set to face trial for smuggling fentanyl across the southern border. Teddy Joseph von Newcomb, one of the most prominent faces lit by the glow of tiki torches in what became the lasting image of the 2017 white supremacist rally in Charlottesville, killed himself as he was due to face criminal trial last month. The 35-year-old skipped out on his first day of trial for a drug trafficking charge in Arizona on the morning of January 30, according to court records. At the very moment a federal judge was issuing a warrant for his arrest, von Newcomb was actually still at his home in Missouri, where he had walked out in the snow behind the hay shed and shot himself. The details were listed in an autopsy report obtained exclusively by the Daily Beast on Tuesday. Suicide notes were found at the scene, left for law enforcement and his children, however handwriting was somewhat inconsistent, the coroner's report states. Von Newcomb gained notoriety for attending the August 12, 2017 hate speech rally that aggressively revived a nativist movement in the United States. He glorified the violence, and researchers of domestic extremism suspect he was a key figure in a brutal beating of a black man that day. Von Newcomb's sudden death was initially reported by Molly Conger, an independent journalist in Charlottesville who has become a key anti-fascism researcher in the years since the rally shook the city. An obituary said von Newcomb left behind a wife and 5 children aged under 9. Some people knew Ted and understood he was a different type of fellow and had different views of things, it noted. Conger's research identified von Newcomb as one of the men who attacked DeAndre Harris in a parking garage. She also connected the dots to show how von Newcomb gloated about the attack in text messages to another white supremacist rally organizer, who was later prosecuted in a separate case. Journalists, researchers, and anti-fascist activists spent months carefully examining photos and videos of the violence that day to identify white supremacists and hold them accountable. Von Newcomb, who stood front and center during some of the most iconic moments of the hateful procession, was quickly outed by former classmates back in his home state. One former student told the local Springfield news leader that in school he was known as a token goth kid, who had what the newspaper described as an unsettling interest in Nazi Germany. At the time, von Newcomb told the newspaper he supported Donald Trump and had adopted the white supremacist worldview that whites are now disadvantaged. "I don't mind showing solidarity with them," he told the newspaper then. "You have to pick your side. You have to throw your support behind the army that is fighting for you." Von Newcomb, who was born as Teddy Landrum, told the outlet he changed his name in 2012 in a nod to his German heritage and the video game character Duke Nukem. At the rally, neo-Nazis raged against minorities and immigrants, whom racists accuse of harming the country. That made it all the more ironic that von Newcomb was arrested on March 17, 2021 while entering the United States from Mexico. On his way into Arizona, Customs and Border Protection agents discovered 15 kilograms of fentanyl pills hidden behind the seats and floor compartment of his 2019 Nissan Pathfinder. According to law enforcement records, von Newcomb quickly admitted that he had been paid 4,000 Mexican pesos, around $215, to smuggle the pills into the country. He was released pending trial and was scheduled to travel back to Tucson to appear in federal court last month. But on January 30, von Newcomb was a no-show. After waiting for an hour, U.S. District Judge Rosemary Marquez issued a warrant for his arrest. Unbeknownst to her, at that very moment 1,145 miles away, von Newcomb's wife had just discovered his body, still warm, lying in the snow behind the shed. He still had a faint pulse when a sheriff's deputy and paramedic arrived, according to the coroner's report. Marie Lassater, the coroner in Texas County, Missouri, checked with the Department of Justice to confirm his identity. Last Thursday, federal prosecutors moved to dismiss the case. The judge closed it the very next day.